Iguodala to Curry, back to Iguodala, up to the line, oh, blocked by James! With a new shot clock. Oh, great no-look to Zizic, who puts it home.
Cleveland! This is for you!
Touchdown, Ohio State! And Curry has to back off as James throws it down.
Struck him out looking. That's his 10th strikeout of the night.
Braxton Miller is loose. Spin move! Miller headed for the end zone!
Edwin drills it. Deep left. It is gone, and the Indians win it.
Smith, alley-oop to James! Wow!
Next thing you off initially, he's going to take a shot. Has some air under it. Has his man Kaiser. Perfectly thrown pass to Gordon. Touchdown, Cleveland.
Welcome on into a Tuesday edition of the Real Sports Talk Show. Like always, I'm your host, Paul Jacobek, and like always, my co-host, Mr. Kevin Rosser. And, well, to get you ready, we do have a Brown show today as we get you ready for game one of the preseason at New York this week. They also have, what else is going on, Rosser?
As far as the Browns, or
Well, yeah, with the Browns. Anything else big going on this week other than the news? We'll get to the big news that came out this morning. We'll get into that in a little bit, or well, this afternoon, I should say. We'll get into that in a little bit. But what else is going on with either the Browns or around the league? Anything else other than the fact that we've had our first preseason game? That was big. Football is back.
yes, and my boy Lamar Jackson threw a touchdown pass.
Wow.
That was nice.
Preseason.
Preseason that you were excited for. You said
Hey.
it yourself. Yeah.
Fuck it.
It's just some other quick little hits going around the league. It's interesting to see the situation unfolding with Khalil Mack in Oakland. There's obviously a huge rift between him and new head coach John Gruden.
Same thing with Donald out there in Los
LA,
Angeles.
yeah, two of the best defensive players in the league just cannot agree to terms and come to camp and be a part of their teams, and that's going to be a huge loss for both of them going forward. That's a lot of lost time. It's same situation that we saw last year from Le'Veon Bell, and a bit of what we're seeing now with Le'Veon Bell too. Even though he is at camp, there's still that rift. He still wants to get paid.
He's not gonna.
No, he's not going to. And it's sad when these marquee players aren't getting the contracts that they want. Sure, they're gonna get paid regardless, but to see that both sides can't come together, it only hurts the team more. It's one thing when it's a situational player or perhaps a second string player, but these are franchise cornerstones that we're talking about.
Another thing out in Oakland is Bryant still has not even talked to Gruden yet. They still have not even talked yet, so that's going on. I've seen Tyrann Mathieu looking very nice down there in Houston. I've seen, honestly, everybody, and also Jeremy Langford just signed the other day. He actually signed yesterday with the Dolphins. So a little bit of around the league going on. Just a little quick hitters and stuff. So we get you ready. Game one, and you're going to see who a lot of people thought we were going to draft, Saquon Barkley. And we're going to see what this defense got. And actually, the other day, the Browns came out and they put out their first depth chart for the preseason. And really, everything that I saw, other than, well, with the starting offense that they released on here, other than Corey Coleman not being on the starting wide receivers list, which they did put this one guy named Antonio Callaway in, but we'll get into him in a little bit. But Tyrod, QB1, Hyde in the backfield, Joku at the tight end, and there with the offensive line, Joel Bitonio is going to be getting Joe Thomas's spot. He's going to get the first crack at it. He's going to be the starting left tackle. He's penciled in at this moment. Corbett at left guard, Treader at center, Durango at right guard, and then Chris Hubbard is going to be at right tackle. And like we said, Corey Coleman has been traded. He got traded for basically a washing machine to the Buffalo Bills. And what do we get? We got a late round pick.
It's going to be a 7th round pick in 2020.
7th round pick in 2020. So like I said, we traded nothing for nothing.
Which, again, it's still a 1st round pick. You look at every 1st round pick that the Browns have had between 2012 and 2016. We had 8 1st round picks, and none of them are on the roster right now.
Because none of them had talent. And John Dorsey came in and said, if you don't have talent, you're not on this team. And I absolutely love it. Because Coleman, trash. Has never shown... He's had the glimpses of, oh man, this guy might be that 1st round pick. And then once again, he goes back to being absolutely trash.
Well, it's not even so much about talent, because clearly he had initial talent to get drafted in the 1st round, but to do absolutely nothing, to basically sit in cruise control for the last several years, and you're promised, you're hyped up to be this explosive guy, and you have a 2-touchdown game against the Ravens a couple years ago, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, he's awful.
And
he's not good.
And he walked around practice. I went to training camp a couple days ago. I saw all the groups working out, and I watched the receivers, and I watched, Jarvis Landry, Hollywood Higgins, and all those guys working out, Antonio Callaway as well. And I saw Corey Coleman, and it just didn't really seem like he was putting in all that much effort.
You got to think, his best friend on the team before was who? Who did we have that was a cancer to this team? He got sent home from Miami. Kenny Britt and Coleman both got in trouble. I forgot what it was. It was past curfew or whatever it was. And they both got sent home when they were on their road trip to Miami. Both of them didn't play. And once again, you just seen Coleman just never really cared. He just doesn't have... He's kind of just like Justin Gilbert. Except he gave a little bit more effort than Justin Gilbert, because Justin Gilbert was absolutely just... He didn't do anything. So, that's basically who he is. That's who the player he is. And we traded him. We got rid of him. And then now you get into a lot of people questioning the Browns right now, because you send him to Buffalo, but little did we know until today that what we thought was going to be our big acquisition in the draft, Antonio Callaway, big news.
Yeah, so with Coleman gone, in that 24, 40-hour span since he's been gone, we thought, okay, that must mean that, among other things, possibly Josh Gordon coming back, possibly another big wide receiver signing. One of the main things was a step up in the role of Antonio Callaway. And we find out today that Sunday morning he got pulled over in Strongsville.
3 o'clock in the morning.
At 3 o'clock in the morning for the charges included driving with a suspended license and a citation for possession of marijuana. And I cannot describe to you how disappointing it is to find that out. Shocking? Perhaps not. Because as much as we wanted to believe that as soon as Dorsey drafted him, he pretty much called Callaway and said, hey, you're going to clean your shit up so that we can have a smooth running team.
At the beginning of training camp, and when the Browns drafted him, that he would not screw us. That he would not screw over Dorsey for taking a chance on him. This is a guy who missed his entire last season at Florida because he was suspended. He stole he's got credit card fraud. He stole somebody's credit card. And I'm pretty sure he also has an abuse or something. He has something else with him. I forgot what it was. I don't think it's domestic violence, but it might be.
There was some assault charge of some form.
It's assault. So
I don't remember. I don't recall offhand if it was an actual conviction.
He's got that, and then he's also got the credit card, and then he also has. He tested positive for marijuana, which he did not technically test positive, but the dose that he ended up giving had too much water to sample it. So, and a lot of people do say that NFL players will do that. They'll just load their bodies up with a ton of water and it will dilute the sample, and they won't be able to get a positive test, which it's an automatic fail anyway. So I don't know why, or an automatic positive test, for marijuana that. So I don't know why they do it in the first place. But once again, the Browns reach out. They try to help somebody. And for right now, he's not looking like he's in a good place. Now, a lot of people are starting to say that, he may not be suspended. I don't think he's going to be suspended. I've read a couple of reports. They said that the marijuana was under the sea. It was a very tiny bit. They said it for sure is a misdemeanor in the state of Ohio, so it can't be much. It was probably like an eighth. So who knows? But the Browns did say they are aware of the incident and they're going to go ahead and check it out. They're going to read more into it before they get into it, before they start saying anything about either suspension for him or what it's going to be. And the NFL has also said that they're going to go ahead and put it through and through the process and see what happens.
Yeah. To move away from this for just a bit, I want to focus more on the actual game that's coming up on Thursday. Because obviously the first preseason game, much like we saw the other day with the Ravens-Bears game, you're not going to see a lot from the first string. It's going to be 1-2 series, 3 max from both sides of the ball. And from there on, it's going to be second, third, fourth string from there. So I want to get your opinion. Both sides of the ball, offense and defense, who are a couple guys that are behind the starters that you're excited to see as part of those second and third units come Thursday night?
I have one guy on offense, and I actually have 2 guys on defense, and one of them is a starter. The other one, I want to check the depth chart real quick before I say this, because I don't know. I know he did go down with an injury at one point. I just don't know. Yeah, he is. Okay, he is listed second team, so I'm pretty sure he is playing. But first, on the offense, I absolutely want to see what Nick Chubb can do. I am very hyped up about Nick Chubb. I think they just had on ESPN the other day, they were playing last year's games, like the playoff games, and I saw Nick Chubb playing in the national championship game, and I was watching more highlights of him throughout the season as they were playing the game review. And I'm absolutely just ecstatic. I don't even know what to say. I really want to see Nick Chubb. I think this guy has huge NFL talent, and I think a lot of teams are going to really wish that they would have picked him. That's just my best way of putting it. And on defense, I don't actually have a player for the first one. I want to see the secondary, what they can do. I don't know how much you're going to see. Now, this is not just first string or second string. This is the entire secondary as a whole. And I want to see what they can do. And I know you're not going to see a lot of Eli Manning, so I don't know who the Giants' backup is. I don't know who their second stringer is listed as. But I definitely want to see what the secondary can do. I have very high hopes on the secondary as a whole, from the young talent, and also just to see what Demarius Randall can do, see what E.J. Gaines can do, to see what Denzel Ward can do. I mean, this is it. I understand that these games really don't matter. They don't actually, your stats don't matter. So, Denzel Ward gets an interception. That's not his first career interception. That's just, it's just exhibition games. But this is meaningful reps for everybody, from the starters all the way down. So, as a whole, I want to see the secondary, but I just want to see the whole team actually kind of clicking. I want to make this look like an actual offense. And before I ask you for yours, I definitely want to see the offensive coordinator and Hugh Jackson on the same page. I think time and time again throughout, with the Browns, it's been a lot of miscommunication. I want to see them on the same page. I want to see getting the calls in. I don't want to see them running the play clock down, trying to get the call, and then hurrying up and getting set and running some crap play because you're not set and reading the defense. So I want to see a good chemistry throughout the whole team. So who do you got on offense? What do you got on defense? Maybe special teams, coaches? What do you got?
There's a couple guys on both sides of the ball. Some that don't need to be named. You really want to see what Baker Mayfield can bring to the table. That's going without saying much anything else. Like you said, Nick Chubb, pretty much all the rookies, really. Callaway, I want to see if he can shake this thing off, if he can get into game mode. I don't know how much he'll get reps-wise with Tyrod Taylor. It'll probably mostly be with Baker, probably some with Stanton as well. And perhaps he'll be back returning a kick or two once Jabril Peppers is out of the game. But I'm looking towards the back half of the depth chart on both sides of the ball. Specifically, backups, Jeff Janis at receiver and Darren Fells at tight end. Darren Fells is an absolute tank. He was a guy that stood out to me when I went to training camp, just from size alone. Pair him up on the opposite end of the line with David Njoku, and that's a dangerous potential two tight end set that you could have. Seth DeValve is a veteran coming in, helping these two younger guys at the tight end position, perhaps shore up their blocking skills. So it's going to be important to see how their reps intertwine. Defensive end, another veteran with a bit of a position change. I'm interested to see how Nate Orchard does moving down to the defensive end. A linebacker for most of his career. He's still going to keep number 44 from what I've seen. It's going to be interesting to see how he does down in the three-point stance, going up against the offensive tackles one-on-one pretty much, seeing if he can get past them, do some good moves, use his slightly smaller size for a defensive end to his advantage. And I guess when you're moving into the secondary, I am excited about everybody, but Denzel Ward, to me, out of everyone, from a skill standpoint and from a competitive standpoint, he blew me away more than anybody else when I went to training camp, because he was matched up with receivers all over the place. It didn't matter whether it was Jarvis Landry or Rashard Higgins or Corey Coleman or Antonio Callaway. Whatever receiver he was matched up with, he didn't care. He gave 110% on every play. And that's just in training camp, going up against his own teammates. Imagine how it's going to feel on that first series for the Giants when Eli Manning has to worry about Odell Beckham being covered by Denzel Ward. Now, obviously, Odell is a superstar wide receiver, and we'll get to him more for another story involving the Browns in a sec, but it's going to be exciting to see if Denzel can live up to the hype of being drafted 4th overall, going up against one of the best receivers in the league.
Well, I do want to say I don't even know if we need to get into the Odell Beckham thing. That's already shut down. Like, there's no hope. He's not coming here. He said he would like to play here, but he's not. He
said through Jarvis Landry, and Jarvis Landry said that the Browns should do whatever it takes to trade for him. As nice as it would be, we would have to give up too much.
No, he already said that he's in contract talks with the Giants, and they're going to make him probably the highest paid wide receiver in the NFL. So I don't think he's coming here. It would be nice because who knows what's going on with Callaway, and we got rid of Coleman. But, I mean, Josh Gordon, per sources, this also came out as, I don't know how I almost forgot about this, but he is actually close to returning to the team. So that is a nice step forward. A lot of people, if you follow him on social media, he's still posting workout videos. He's still in shape. It's not like he's just sitting around doing nothing. So he's still getting work in, but right now the question is who else do we bring in? Now, the Browns are questioning if Dez Bryant is actually, committed to playing for the Browns. So that's up in the air. I would love to see Dez play on this team. I think it would add some huge electricity to this offense, and definitely it would just keep the crowds coming in, because Dez Bryant with this team mixed in with Josh Gordon when he comes back, because I honestly, I'm not even worried about Josh Gordon. Everybody was kind of worried about him being suspended. I'm not even worried about him being suspended. I think this is exactly how it's going. What he said is how it's going. He is going down there for treatment. He is going down there to make sure that he does not screw this up. and I just wish that Callaway would have done the same. But that's not what happened. Callaway got arrested, and Josh Gordon's in Florida rehabbing. So at least we still got Josh Gordon on the right path coming back. But like we said, the Browns' first preseason game is this Thursday. Do we have a start time, a little kickoff time for that?
Let me pull that up real quick. And while I'm pulling this up, there is a start time that I know for sure about. 10 o'clock tonight, Tuesday, August 7th, is the premiere of a program that I think it's wise that Josh Gordon is staying away from, and that's the first episode of the Cleveland Browns version of Hard Knocks on HBO.
I actually really want to watch that. I'm going to watch the whole series.
I am as well, and I'm tempted to see the approach that they try to make with this season in particular. I'm curious as to what is their starting point. What are the first 5 minutes of this program? What is it going to be like? Is it just going to start off, in early January? Is it going to just start off right after the draft? I haven't watched any Hard Knocks before this, so I'm not sure what their approach has been previously.
I bet they start off with the intro is going to just be absolutely all the diehard fans that have shown up week in, week out, who live and die by the Cleveland Browns. And the real purpose I really think that Hard Knocks had to be with the Browns this year if you were actually going to do it with the Browns. Now, I have not even really watched Hard Knocks. I've watched a couple episodes here and there from other seasons, but I was told it was pretty good. From what I've watched, it was pretty good, but I just, I wasn't into it. I will watch it, but it's not. I think it's just going to start off with the reason why we're basically doing this, and of course they're not going to say it, is because it is just time for the Cleveland Browns to finally do something in the NFL. The NFL as a whole has been waiting for the Browns to do something, and maybe finally putting them in the spotlight, putting them on Hard Knocks, it will finally get them to, to finally start clicking. And, right now everything is pointing in the right direction. Now they got the spotlight of Hard Knocks. Let's see what happens.
The start time for Thursday's game between the Browns and Giants is 7 p.m.
So kickoff 7 o'clock.
7
Okay.
o'clock
Yep.
kickoff for Thursday.
Yep, and it's probably going to be on your local, whatever it is, local CBS, probably Channel 19, whatever it is. So before we end today's show, do have a little advertisement for anybody out there who is in any interest of, basically the best way to put it is instant classic clothing. Anybody who's a huge sports fan who would like to get into any snapbacks, who would like to get any apparel of thousands of teams. This dude, my buddy Ray, has everything. You want it, you need to go get it from him. He's got snapbacks, posters. He's got anything you want. And that's just for putting on the walls. That's not even getting into the clothing. He's got hoodies. He's got starter jackets. He's got the jerseys. He's got shirts. And they're all throwback, instant classic stuff. Don't miss it. We're going to go ahead and at the end of this, we're going to post the link to his Instagram. And then you can go ahead and check out his clothing. You can check out some other stuff on there too. I've bought some posters. I bought some pennant flags. I got them up in my room. I absolutely love them. I got some Indian stuff. I picked up an old Buckeyes poster, nice Budweiser one, and then I also picked up a old Cleveland Cavaliers one with Hot Rod on there, Hot Rod Williams. So he's got some great stuff. Don't miss it. You definitely want to check out his shop. But more info to follow on that one. Rosser, before we end this one, any last things to get you? Any last big things before the first preseason game before the Browns take the field on Thursday?
Just last minute, hoping there's no big injuries from either team. Last year during the Giants-Browns preseason game, Odell Beckham, hurt himself. It affected him the rest of the season, eventually leading to him getting knocked out for the season. And that's the last thing you want to see, regardless of it's your team or the opposing team. Any big superstar or any guy for that matter who's fighting for a roster spot and getting hurt in these games, the conversation shifts to whether these games should even be played. Should the regular season be extended, take away 2 preseason games, make it 18-game season? It gets into a whole debate for hours based on one big injury.
I just meant about the game. I didn't mean the whole thing.
Well, I'm also just hoping for a win. You know, it doesn't mean
he's
much.
hoping for a win. I just hope Tyrod makes a nice good throw to Landry, and we kind of see that they got some good chemistry. It seems like everybody's been talking about both of them having some great chemistry in camp. I know Rosser was talking about it at camp that he saw them a lot. So I definitely want to see them, and I want to see Carlos Hyde in this offensive line for whatever amount of drives they got. I want to see them have some nice consistency. I don't want to see massive gaping holes with the pocket, and I want to see some good lanes for Carlos to run in.
Quick correction before we go. You mentioned that the preseason games would be on CBS. Quick note that they will be on Channel 5. They will be on ABC.
That's just stupid.
They will be called by Tim Couch and Jay Crawford. So,
all right. So I'm probably gonna. No, I won't even catch it on the radio because Donovan sucks. So, all right. Well,
wow, that's rough.
Yeah, he sucks. He's terrible. So is Deacon. They're both terrible. So yeah, that's gonna do it for today's show. Go Browns as always. First preseason game this Thursday, 7:00 kickoff in New York. And, definitely watch out for Tyrod Taylor and Baker Mayfield. Until next time, this was the Real Sports Talk Show.
Final seconds. It's over. It's over. Cleveland is a city of champions once again. This ball is